Hello, this is Lawson, Dodds, Wood. Me being Steve Lawson, Dodds being Roy Dodds, and Wood being Patrick Wood. And we've just made an album. Oh, we actually recorded the stuff for it about, how long ago? A year ago? Yeah, so almost a year ago. And then I disappeared off to the States for a couple of months and came back, and these two lovely gentlemen had been working on it while I was away, getting very excited about it, and had turned what was 7 or 8 kind of fascinating but sprawling improvs into a fantastically interesting sounding, still improv based but slightly more edited album project. I'm going to introduce you to these guys, and then we'll have a chat, and we'll do some other little videos where Patrick talks you through what he did, because this is his space, this is his den, his studio, his place of where all his musical masterpieces happen. And Patrick, I don't know if it's the same for you, but I find that there are tons and tons and tons of projects that get suggested over the years, and a very small percentage of those ever actually happen. What do you think made this one be one of the ones that wasn't just a discussion over a pint that never actually happened?
Yeah, I was determined that it would actually do something.
Right.
It did. So I got a little studio that belongs to a friend, and we set some time aside and actually recorded, and then I've edited and worked on some of it afterwards.
Which was great for me, because those of you who are kind of familiar with what I do normally will know that I tend to improvise, and then I'm happy to mix things and make them sound better, but I tend not to edit. I tend to leave things as they are. I also tend to record at home, and so for this to feel much more like a kind of proper project, the fact that we did it in a studio, one of the nicest sounding studios I've ever been in. It's weird because it was in an industrial unit, but it just, the sound of the room was great. The sound of Roy's drums is just beautiful. I don't know if you can hear what's going on in the background. It's probably not particularly high quality on here, but that kind of, it felt like it was a level up from things that I'd done previously, and I guess that was something that you consciously weren't very aware of.
Yeah, and wanted. Yeah, but we've done it. We did it all ourselves, which is great. You know, I just came and knew how to get a great sound instantly.
Yeah, because you do a lot of recording of other projects as well, don't you? You kind of, but like me, you tend to do them at home.
Exactly. Yeah. That's my sort of obsession, really.
Yeah.
Sitting at home making music.
Part of the joy of this for me was that it kind of felt like a little sort of musical superhero team, and that we all have very different strengths. That Patrick is the stickler for detail, that very much so. That we got quite a few sessions in here where we sat, Patrick's going, I'm just going to move this bit, and I've got this idea for the way the compression will build through this, or whatever. I don't know. He talks in this kind of techie language, and Roy and I are very much sort of broad brush people that we record at home. We like that kind of the vibe of a bunch of people playing together in a room, and where there are glitches in that, we kind of celebrate those. But that tension was actually where the interesting stuff in this came out, because it's still very much an improvised record. It's not that Patrick hasn't taken 8 bars of each one, looped them, and then played over the top. It's very much about the sound of the three of us playing in a room. Although, as you can hear in the background there is also a goose on this track. That's Mark Lockhart playing bass clarinet, and he was brought in and played under pretty much the same conditions as us. We just hit play and he played, and it was very much within the feel of it being about the interaction between musicians who were kind of in the moment and didn't know necessarily what was going to happen next, but kind of had that sort of that communication going on in real time. So that feeling of it being kind of the coming together of a very kind of loose, open, homemade aesthetic, but with what Patrick brought to it from the point of view of being a stickler for detail. And I mean, he does music for TV, and kind of is very much has a sort of that focus of a soundtrack composer. There was very much a sense of each piece having a beginning and a middle and an end. That I think gives it a kind of slightly magical quality. That it doesn't sound like three people reading off a score, but it also doesn't sound like three drunk blokes in a pub making it up as they go along. I don't know. Does that sound